Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Where do I even start? So if you guys saw my review for the Blair Witch Project, you know that I'm covering the two Blair Witch theatrical films that came before the upcoming new film that's going to be coming out in September. I thought it'd be fun to talk about these films. I enjoyed talking about the first, and I actually have some interesting things to say about Book of Shadows because it's very easy to sit here and say, oh my god, this movie's horrible, it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. I hate this movie, it's an abomination against humanity, it should not exist. But there's actually a lot of really interesting behind the scenes stuff that went on with the making of Book of Shadows. This film's about a group of tourists who are cashing in on the Blair Witch Project phenomena. One guy in particular, who later got more famous for being the star of the TV show Burn Notice, this guy has set up the Blair Witch Hunt. It's a trip through the area of Burkittsville, Maryland, where the people who shot the Blair Witch Project movie filmed their movie. And these people go into the woods excited about the phenomenon of the Blair Witch, about the movie, about the things relating to the movie, and some really serious shit goes down. They start seeing things, they start turning on one another, and no one really knows exactly what's going on, especially the audience. Because this movie really is very bad. But the movie that the director was trying to make is a movie I would love to see. If a place like Shout Factory got their hands on the director's cut of this film, or could perhaps contact the director and make the director's cut, that's something I think would be worthwhile. It certainly would be better than what we got, which is a studio-assembled horror movie disaster. Artisan Entertainment saw something in the Blair Witch Project. Not in the film, but in the box office returns, and so they really wanted to make a sequel very fast. And what we got was this hodgepodge reassembled movie with reshoot scenes to be included in the movie to make it seem more gory and more violent, Marilyn Manson music to be inserted into the film to make it seem more rock and punk-like, even though the original director did not want to make a film like that. He was going for a more satirical, sarcastic film. It was supposed to be a more light-hearted film with some scary and thrilling elements, which made sense because the public perception of the Blair Witch Project turned from horrifying to, oh, okay, I get it, it's fake, let's make fun of this isn't very good. That happened really fast. And so it made sense to go in that direction, but Artisan Entertainment wanted a more straightforward horror film. There is a very good video about this on YouTube from the channel Good Bad Flicks. I left a link for that in the description below. This guy explores a lot of the making of this movie and how it could have been better, as well as one of the most interesting parts of this movie, which is hidden messages that appear throughout the movie. It was linked into the website and the viral marketing of it. There's even a scene where a character is speaking in reverse, and if you reverse what she's saying, you get a sentence that you could then enter on the website, and you could be one of the few people that deciphered this film's hidden clues. They actually did try to make some really cool things in this movie, but unfortunately, the film we got is shit. For this review, it really doesn't matter that the director was trying to make a better movie because the movie we have is not that movie. This movie jumps all over the place. The structure of this movie feels like someone took every reel of film, mashed it all together, and just put it through the machine, hoping that a coherent film would thus play out for us on the screens. The weird reshoot scenes that are included into this film to heighten the violence and have strange out-of-place flashback sequences and flash forward sequences show us that there were just way too many cooks in the kitchen on this movie because the actual product, despite whatever the director was hoping to make, the final product is absolute shit. This is a boring, unfunny mess of a movie with way too many ideas going back and forth, with performances that really don't always work, especially when you insert the idiotic reshoot scenes that the studio forced them to do. And the gruesome, unnecessarily violent scenes that were reshot and thrown into this movie take away from that hinting, from that suggestion that the first film did so well. It's almost like the studio just said, hey, what does every horror franchise ever do? Well, they always make a really effective first film, and then they get really gory and violent and repetitive, and they all suck. We should do that with Book of Shadows. Speaking of Book of Shadows, there's no Book of Shadows in this movie. That's easily the most hilarious part of the studio changes. They wanted the subtitle to be Book of Shadows, and there is no such item. That's amazing. That's incredible, actually. How did that happen? I'm blown away by that. Guys, in the end, despite whatever movie they were trying to make that would have been better, trust me, and I would love to see a director's cut of that movie, the final film we got was an awful, jumbled, reassembled mess with way too many people overseeing this production when one vision would have just been fine enough. I'm going to give Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2 a D-. Simply because there are a few effective performances and there is a good idea in this movie, but it just wasn't harnessed, as I said, because of all that interference. So guys, I'm excited for Blair Witch, the new film coming out very soon. I had fun talking about these two films with you guys. Thanks very much for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.